Hello, hello, and welcome to another episode of It's For Real.
It's For Real with Farah and
Salil.
we're here today, right now.
She always has to narrate. I don't get it. But anyways,
Anywho, today we have a guest. It's been a while.
it's
been a while, but today we have a very special guest.
extremely special. I'm so excited to know more about her, honestly.
I had the pleasure and luck of getting to know this really interesting and amazing person. Some of you might know her, and if you know Qesati, you probably know her. She is the founder of this storytelling initiative.
I love that.
Yeah, and she's more than that as well, not just the founder.
Okay.
She's
We'll
been
dive
on
into
her
it.
own journey, healing journey. She's a traveler. What else?
كل شيء.
We shall find out.
We shall find out.
So, please welcome Fatemah Alhabib.
Hello.
Hello.
It's a pleasure being here, girls. Thank you so much for having me. I mean, I'm a little shy maybe now, but once we start talking, you'll be like, okay, خلاص ارتحت لكم, you know. I'm already مرتاحة بس يعني it's going to take me so time.
You're going to get
ease
used to
off
it.
the shyness a little bit. Yeah.
You'll get used to it. It's normal.
I'm very excited to be here. I can't wait to see what unravels and what we get to talk about today.
Well, the most important thing is طبعا احنا نبيش تاخذين راحتك.
طبعا.
هذا أول شيء. هذا أهم شيء. The whole podcast honestly.
Yeah.
ثاني شيء احنا we want to get to know you.
Okay.
يعني فروح she got the honor of knowing you and meeting you. I guess your Kilimanjaro trip made you guys bond on a whole different level.
Absolutely.
إنزين بس يعني سالفة the storytelling سالفة how you started it. طبعا we don't want to على طول dive into the storytelling. هم أبي
I got a small part before we dive in.
طبعا you have a small part حبيبي.
Yeah, it's a small fun game يعني.
إنزين.
إنزين. Before we dive deep, await يعني شوية شيء عشان she gets a little comfortable to break the ice and يعني to get to know some small things better. I have a game. أكيد you've heard it. Two truths, one lie.
إيه.
And we're gonna play it with her يعني. We'll also عشان she gets to know us as well. فيعني you give us something about yourself. Three things. Two of them are true. One of them is false. And then we'll have to guess which one's the false one.
Okay, so two truths and one false.
Yeah, one lie.
Okay, I can't see with one eye. I know how to sing. And I hate the beach. I mean, I love the beach. Which one's the lie?
I think that you can sing.
I can definitely not sing.
Yeah, and that's a lie.
That's a lie.
بالعكس
I
أنا ما أدري
can
حسيت
definitely not sing.
ما أدري لأن I was thinking about the Kilimanjaro trip that we also had music on. I was like, did she ever sing?
I never sang, girl.
Chan,
I
like
don't know
if she knew
ever
how to
noticed.
sing, she would have been singing the whole time.
Nope, I never sang.
تستحي مع أن صوتك ترى فيه.
No, I cannot sing at all. يعني نشاز on a different level, honestly. Man, a lot of people say I have a deep voice,
إيه،
but
عشان كذا
no,
أسأل.
it's not a singing voice. It's just a deep voice for listening, not for singing, or like for speaking, not for singing. You know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So she cannot sing, but you love the beach. I was like, أكيد راح تحب البحر يعني.
Yeah, I
ما
love
أدري,
the beach.
you gave me that notion صراحة.
Yeah.
لا ما كنت أقدر أقول إني hated the beach.
Yeah.
And the way she said, I can't see one eye, it was too fast. I was like, أكيد it's true. And I was like, I was like, she said it's too fast first thing. Yeah, she didn't even think about it, so it's probably true.
Yeah.
And you can't see in one eye?
Yeah. So basically, I was born with a lazy eye. On my left eye, and I didn't know that I had a lazy eye. And when you have a lazy eye as a kid, you're supposed to cover the weak eye. I mean, you cover the strong eye so you can strengthen the weak eye. But my parents didn't know about this, so I grew up with like one vision. My vision kind of shifted to the right side. Sometimes, so when people are talking to me, I do this just to like see them properly. And I only discovered this when I was like 15.
Wow.
يعني all my life I thought it was normal to see with one eye, and then like one of my friends in school, she looked at me, she's like, why do we have two eyes if it's normal to see with one eye? And I was like, you have a very good point. And then I went to get my eyes checked. Surprisingly, turns out I had a lazy eye.
And you never checked it when you were younger or anything?
Apparently they never noticed, so it was a very strange thing. And yeah.
Did you wear glasses back then?
I didn't.
Okay.
Yeah, I started wearing glasses after I found out that, okay, I have a lazy eye, and my actual good eye is getting really weak. So I need to kind of take care of that by wearing glasses, which I should be wearing, but I'm not wearing.
Okay, so للحين you're supposed to wear glasses, but you're not.
Yeah, I just can't see from far.
Okay.
That's all. It's just because my good eye is just فيها انحراف.
Yes.
So that's why like I have to take care of it. And I can't wear lenses. My eyes are too sensitive for that. So I wear them when I'm working or when I'm driving sometimes. And when I'm staring at the screen for too long, I think that's when I wear them mostly.
صدق خاصة when you're working like on a laptop or حتى on your phone.
Yeah, exactly.
When you're holding your phone for too long, your eyes dry out.
Or even the TV.
صدق.
Yeah, very sensitive.
لأن هي she works in corporate وكذي.
Oh yeah.
يعني you always have to have your glasses with you.
Yeah, and staring at the screen for hours, like how's that healthy? It's not that healthy. And you have to keep like looking around every now and then, maybe going for a walk a little bit, just to kind of ease off that vision. And it gets blurry at some point, especially because what I do is writing. It's very writing based. I write press releases. So there's a lot of focus with what I do, and that focus kind of blurs the vision every now and then, and you have to take a break.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Your turn now.
My turn. إنزين. شو أقول؟ Okay, so ما ظنيتي راح أخليك تجاوبين لأن probably راح تعرفين. You know everything. I don't know. المهم, I have 2 sisters and 1 brother. I hate ketchup, and I don't eat burgers.
I think you hate ketchup is a lie.
No, that's true.
Really?
Yeah, never tried it, never will.
Okay. You're not curious to try it? Why not?
ريحته خايسة.
That's how I feel about barbecue sauce.
It's the same thing.
Honestly. Barbecue sauce makes me feel a little nauseous.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that's a truth.
Yeah.
And the lie is you don't eat burgers?
No, I don't eat burgers.
That's a lie?
Yeah.
That's a lie.
No, that's not a lie. That's true.
That's true.
Yeah.
You don't eat burgers. Okay, and you said you had 3 siblings?
Yeah.
So that's the lie.
Yes.
Okay. Which is the most believable one, actually, out of all of them. I mean, I was like, that sounds believable. Okay.
No, I'm a single child.
Okay, you're the only child. Okay, cool. How's that?
I think I'm just closer to my friends, honestly, and my cousins. And it's a different bond when it comes to friends and cousins. It's totally different. And like, I hold my friendships extremely dear to my heart, extremely dear to my heart. It can be a blessing and a curse at the time, because like you lose friends, you gain friends. It's so and so in life. But being a single child, I don't think people will understand how dear friendships are. And it's a whole different level.
Yeah, I have a lot of friends who are single children in their families, and they say the same thing, where a lot of their bonds come through bonding with friends.
Yes.
Mostly, which their friendships doesn't suffice anything else in their lives. It's the most important thing. That's very special. It means that you find really true, authentic people that you can almost relate to as siblings.
Alhamdulillah.
I think that's very special.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah. صدق.
Yeah.
صدق الحمدلله. نفس بعض الناس.
Yeah.
You're stuck with me, unfortunately.
شو بدنا نعمل شو بدنا نعمل يلا your
I'm
turn.
keeping you young, girl.
الحمد لله.
I'm keeping you up to date
الحمد لله you are.
with what's happening.
صدق
What's going around.
أي the شنو the riz قالت مرة.
The riz.
شنو قالت شيء مرة عمر ما أدري. ما هي ودلاغاتها اللي ما لي وين بيوصلون ما هي اللي she's keeping me updated صراحة. غير كذي أنا I'm gonna be lost. يلا your turn.
How would you know about the socks situation?
إيه ما عشان جيك أقول لك مشكلة الدلاغات هاي كانت يعني سيناريو ثاني كنت ضايعة فيها و people are wearing socks و slides وما حد قال لي.
You know what I've been doing? I've been like every time I wear socks or slides,
تصور لي.
take a photo, send it to her. Your worst nightmare.
I'm like put your goddamn shoes on. ما أدري إيش فيها جواتي. مشكلة ما أقدر ألبس دلاغ بهالحر.
I mean, sometimes you need to wear sneakers. It's just something that you need to do.
Like for workouts or stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go work out with like sandals or something.
إيه أدري أنا فاهمة بس يعني الجوتي مع الدلاغ يعني مو دلاغ مع نعال ما حسيت اوكي المهم.
She has a big issue with that. Yeah,
I
it's
do
been icking her out too much.
Why?
I understand that you would wear نعال مع socks if it's cold, but if it's not cold, I don't understand it. But I don't think I think it's fine because your feet don't want to get cold. So you can wear a نعال because you don't want to wear shoes and it's just more convenient to like go run errands or something like that.
لا تطلعين من البيت وانتي لابسة دلاغ لا. I don't want to see that بالجمعية ولا ما أدري. لا. No. That's just ugly. The only thing I can think of is إنه فطريات. المهم لا تلومون جبدي يا جماعة. ما أدري.
Her situation with socks يعني ما أدري.
Anyways, I'm a girl that...
It's personal.
Yeah.
والله أنا ما ألبس أصلا sneakers. I don't own sneakers. فما أفهم هذا الشيء كلش.
Wait, why don't you own sneakers?
I don't wear them.
Okay.
يعني I don't wear them at all. حتى لما أسافر I don't.
تبسين like if you go walking for a long distance or hiking, do you ever hike?
No, I never hiked.
You never gymmed, so
بلا I do بس يعني أصلا most of the trainers وكذي اللي I trained with عادي يقولوا لي يعني أنت لأن يعني أنا وايد ما فيني balance. فلايك يقولوا لي أصلا يعني فسخي your socks و do it barefoot لأن وايد imbalance عندي وايد.
I do a lot of my workouts without shoes because it helps me stay more stabilized, especially when I'm doing heavy weights and things that need a lot of balance. Because a lot of the shoes have really thick kind of soles at the bottom that kind of also put you off balance. So when you're barefoot, it puts you on a stability, like on a stable ground that you're able to kind of manage the heavy weight that comes through. So yeah, I salute actually training without shoes. That was recommended by my coach as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
سمعتي؟ كمل اختي.
Okay, my turn.
Yeah.
شنو أقول? You know everything. I think I'm gonna make it hard شوية. Let's see. عشان something you don't know. Okay. So I've never been to Switzerland. I wanted to become a chemical engineer. And I like the beach. I love the beach.
كلنا ندري you love the beach.
Yeah, that's definitely not a lie.
Hey. The chemical engineer part is the lie.
What about you?
Yeah, I think the chemical engineer doesn't sound very believable.
لا أنت ما كنتِ بتدرسين وايد.
That's truth actually.
صدق؟
So initially when I first went into college, I had applied to, I remember I applied to like a couple of different universities for chemical engineering. That's what I wanted to do. And then like when I applied for University of Miami, they didn't have chemical engineering. So at first I just applied for undecided engineering. And when I decided to go there, I just decided to go with architectural. And then I was like, okay, my plan was I was gonna go study for a year or two and then transfer into chemical engineering at a different college, different university.
ما أقدر أتخيلها تدرس chemical engineering.
But then that was truth actually. And then I went to Miami. طبعا I fell in love with Miami. I fell in love with Miami. And yeah, the rest is history.
Interesting. So you've never been to Switzerland?
I've been to Switzerland. That's the lie. I said I've never been.
قلتي I've never been.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. قاعدة أقول okay.
That was a long time. I expected you wouldn't know it.
لا كمان لأن أنت كلش يعني the way you did your college life ما كنت راح أقدر أتخيلش قاعدة تدرسين organic chemistry بصراحة.
Oh, I took one chemistry class. Man, I loved chemistry in high school. Like I loved the whole organic chemistry part. That was my favorite, like balancing equations and elements and labs and all that stuff. So I was like, okay. And then I when okay, you know, the dream can die before. Like the best place to go work was like the oil company. So like that was like the best job for it. Yeah. So I was like, okay, I was gonna go into that. Went to college. Took one chemistry class. A horrible class. Hated chemistry. I was like.
Bleep chemistry.
Yes.
It's not easy at all.
And then I was really good at it. I just hated it. Like I hated it in college, but I was really good at it. And then obviously I was like, no, I don't think I can leave Miami. Like I love it too much. I'm not gonna.
ما راح أروح أقعد بأريزونا ولا
change my
Philadelphia.
place. No, initially my plan was to go to Santa Barbara.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. لا الحمد لله ما خذيتي.
So just stayed where I was at.
الحمد لله. I think you brought something today.
شنو؟
أنتي.
Yeah, for what's on the menu.
So راح نخليها حق بعدين.
كيف we want to try the what's on. Actually, let's get to know her first شوية.
Okay. So Fatemah.
So Celine.
Who is Fatemah? Give us a little synopsis.
Ask away. I'm here. I'm open, transparent, whatever. Shoot at me. Whatever comes through.
I just want to get to know you. Like before Qesati, like of course we want to know like how did it start? Why did it start? Blah 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 and everything. But like basically, what would you like people to know about Fatemah that they don't know? Mm-hmm. She's not the founder of Qesati. She's not the traveler or whatnot. Something from like her childhood, your upbringing. What did you like to study? يعني الحين درينا إن فرح كانت بتصير the next Dexter بس يعني. Tell us your journey. Tell us your upbringing.
Yeah. So I grew up in Bilimarat, actually. I was born and raised هناك. My parents are actually still there.
Okay.
I consider Sharjah to be my home. It's where I grew up. It's where all my friends are. It's where I studied. I went to university there. So a big chunk of my life for 23 years was Bilimarat. And I think I had, I would say, a very interesting childhood in a way, because I lived in so many different homes growing up. So my parents have been divorced since I was like maybe 3 years old. So I lived the first half of my life with my mom, because I was a child, and my brother as well. And then the second half of my life, I lived with my dad.
Okay.
Where he took custody after the age of 15. So being in like two different households and trying to accustom to different households, especially after that, moving to Kuwait, it's like different stages in my life. And I grew up with two parents who were naturally entrepreneurs, very street smart. They always encouraged education. They always supported education. They were hard workers in their own way. So I think that was inspiring to a lot of us within my family. I come from a family of 8.
MashaAllah.
So we are 6 girls and 2 boys.
Wow.
We are a big family. We're 5 from my mom and 3 from my stepmother, who I also lived with in the house. So it's my childhood was a very kind of, I would say, it has its ups and downs. But it all contributed towards me becoming who I am today, because it helps you kind of understand yourself, the dynamic that you had to live in, the living situation, and especially when you move from one country to another, it's very different. So I would say, like, growing up, I was always curious by nature. I'm a curious child. I was always in the outdoors, always like really دايما كانت يعني وسخة, because I would run barefoot everywhere around the Hosh, and like I was that child, and I loved animals. So animals, and until this day, animals are like my favorite thing in the world.
Okay.
I love animals, and I grew up with a lot of pets. So my dad had this, until this day actually, has this thing where he likes to introduce us to all sorts of pets and animals. And so growing up, I was surrounded by pets and animals, and I think that was also his way to show compassion to other living creatures other than human beings. And that kind of instilled that seed within all of us to love animals the same way we love human beings, to appreciate them and to be around them and to see their purpose and how amazing they can be, because they provide such amazing positive energy and kind of comfort as well.
Wow.
So growing up, I actually had a pet, and a lot of people have cats and dogs as pets, or parrots or dogs. My pet was actually a sheep. And his name was Ba', because apparently I was obsessed with khurfan for some reason.
Okay.
So my dad kind of bought me this kharoof, and he was like, okay, that's your Ba'. And I was like, okay, that's Ba'. And then like I have so many pictures with my sheep, and
that's so
kind
cute.
of bonded, you know, with this kharoof.
We need to see a photo of that.
There is a photo, actually. I do have a few photos of that. So apparently I had this obsession with sheep growing up, and I don't think it's still there, but I still like them. I think they're very cute.
Oh my God.
But I had a very, I think, my childhood was very difficult to a certain extent. There were difficult patches that I had to go through, but also it was a childhood where I was surrounded by two loving parents. I love my parents. As much as they had to go through their own kind of turbulence and their own problems, I know that my parents are extremely great at, they're pure-hearted. They love us. That's the most important thing. And they really sacrificed a lot to pay for our education, to help us get to where we are today. And I think my mom was one of my greatest inspirations because she herself was an independent woman, or is still an independent woman. She raised me and my brother as a single mom who was able to kind of carry everything herself. So seeing that as an example for me growing up, that this woman is able to carry herself and do everything herself, is something that I can do also. And she also has a very healthy lifestyle. She's into sports, she eats clean. So all these things kind of inspired me to become the woman that I am today in many ways. But also I think I get my dad's hard-headedness and like my dad's diligence and hard work. He's a workaholic in many ways. So I think I get bits of both. So in a nutshell, I think that's, I would say, my childhood in a way.
That's so inspiring. I can say that for sure. And like one of the main questions that actually came to my mind was like, first of all, when did you shift to Kuwait?
So that happened in specifically 2017.
Okay.
I graduated from college in 2015 from the American University of Sharjah. And then my parents were like, okay, khalas, now it's time for you to go back to Kuwait. So there was a thing where within my family, all my oldest three sisters, they graduated, ended up going to Kuwait because my parents have this kind of conception that once she goes to Kuwait, she's going to get married.
Okay.
So that was the idea that they had. And because my sisters had that, they moved to Kuwait and they got married within a year or two, and they kind of developed their own lives with their husbands and got kids and everything like that. So I was kind of avoiding that for the longest time. I didn't want to go back to Kuwait because I just didn't feel like it's a place that I wanted to live in. I didn't feel like it was fitted for who I am as a person. I've gotten so used to Imarat and Sharjah and going between Sharjah and Bay, and it was my home. My best friends are still there, you know. It's where I feel comfortable. I know it better than I know Kuwait until this day. So there was a lot of discomfort about accepting this change that I wasn't okay with. So I was resisting it. And I remember that my parents kind of gave me no choice but to go back to Kuwait. So what I did was that I applied for a job behind their backs to Sharjah Art Foundation, and I actually got accepted.
Okay.
And that was like 3 months after I graduated from university. And I just went to my parents and I told them I got a job offer, and I signed it. And that so they were just حطيتهم على يعني قدام أمر الواقع, and I was like, it is what it is, and I'm going to take this job. And obviously they weren't very happy about that because they were like, but your life is not supposed to be built here. They had this kind of vision for me, obviously coming out of a good place where they wanted me to grow. They wanted me to find security and to kind of grow my own family and find my own life and my own path. But I told them that I just wasn't ready. And I think deep down, I knew I wasn't ready to move at that time. I wasn't ready. So I took the job and I worked at Sharjah Art Foundation for almost a year until it reached a point where I was like, you know what? I think I need my independence. I can't, there was a voice in my head that was telling me that you can't, there's something else for you in Kuwait. And so I remember before all of that, I came to Kuwait because my aunt passed away. So when she passed away, يتحق العزاء, and I used to come to Kuwait a lot for Eid or for like any funerals or anything like that to visit family. All my family's here. So whenever I came to visit, I would see my family. And when I was visiting for my aunt's funeral, my sister told me that there is a job interview if I'm interested. And I told her, what kind of job interview? Like, أنا هني حق العزاء. Like, I don't have the energy to do a job interview right now. But she's like, ما راح تخسرين شيء. Just go for the job interview. It's in an agency in Kuwait. You might like it. It might be a good pay, etc., etc. So I was like, okay, sounds great. So I went to this job interview. I didn't take it seriously at all. I was laughing out loud. I was like talking about random things that I'm not supposed to be talking about throughout the interview. But ironically is that I left that job interview and my sister asked me, she's like, how did it go? And I told her, I'm getting the job. I told her they're going to accept me. And then I just knew that they were going to give me the offer. So I did end up going back to UAE, and I did end up getting the job, and they offered me an incredible package with an amazing pay and an amazing good position for someone who just worked for a year. And then that's when I was kind of placed between crossroads. That's when I had to decide, do I want to continue staying where I am currently, or do I want to choose growth? And I want to choose kind of a different path that's going to help me become a better person, but also give me my independence in a way, because I felt like I was in an age at that time, like how old was I? Like 23, 24. I felt like, okay, I was ready to kind of fly from the nest from my parents and explore my own kind of destiny and my own path. And I think naturally I'm a very free spirit. يعني ما أقدر أتقيد، أنا ما أحب أتقيد. And my parents kind of are parents in a nutshell. They're just like the typical parents where they want to protect and they want to make sure that we're always kind of in good, safe hands. But at that point, I realized that it was time for me to leave. So what I did was that I quit the job that I was in Sharjah. I flew to Kuwait and I started a new job all in 1 month.
Wow. You relocated, left your
old job.
Yes, left your old job. You left your family and friends.
Yes. I left everything within 1 month. And I remember that I went with one suitcase. Imagine everything that I had, all the life that I had
23 years.
For 23 years. I left with one suitcase because in my head I was like, I'm coming back. I don't care. I'm just going to go with one suitcase. بروح هناك سنة, بروح هناك سنتين, or anything like that. وراح أرد. It's just temporary. It's just temporary. That's what I told myself. I literally went to Kuwait, and I remember like حتى the drawers in my room, because I live with my grandmother now and my sister, with my uncle as well in the house. So there were even like plastic drawers. It looked like a warehouse. You know, it looked like everything was so temporary. And I wanted it to stay like that because a part of me just didn't want to accept that this is permanent. It's not permanent. There was a battle between myself. لدرجة إن أول أيام لما نيت الكويت كنت أروح every weekend back to Imarat to see my friends. I was so attached to the life that I had there.
You know, it was so understandable.
And especially if it's like 23, yeah, that's what you know.
And I came to Kuwait, I don't know anyone but my siblings and my cousins, who I'm not very close to because I lived so far away from them. So I see them from time to time. There's a huge gap, you know. So it was extremely difficult to go through that because it's like, as well, لأن حسيت I didn't fit in as well. And coming from like an English school background, actually, it was hard for me to find the communities that kind of resemble me, especially when you're new in a country, you're trying to discover what's available. And when you're new to all of this, it's really hard. If I entered into like this period of like isolation, I would say, for a few months, where all I did was go to work, go to the gym and go home, go to work, go to the gym, go home. That was my life for months when I first started coming to Kuwait. And I had a few breakdowns. I had a few incidents where I just felt like I didn't want to fit in, but not a single part of me wanted to go back. That's the weird part, is that I didn't want to go back. I felt that I am loving this independence. I am loving having this kind of freedom to explore myself, and kind of that later on opened different doors for me where I was able to grow in different ways and find the right people and the right communities. And I explored different communities. That's a whole different kind of journey that I had to endure.
What was the first thing that you noticed about like how different Kuwait is from I'm not going to say UAE, but let's say like Sharjah, because you lived there most of the time.
Well, when you're living in Sharjah, you are kind of like an expat, صح؟ إن أنت مو بديرتك.
You're not a local
You're not a local there. Regardless, حتى لو أنت خليجية, you're not a local. حتى يعني all my friends اللي كانوا هناك were not actually, I had local friends, but not all, my closest friends were not local. And they came from different backgrounds, different international countries. يعني كان في, some of my best friends are Iranian, American, Jordanian, Palestinian. These were my friends at that time. But when I came to Kuwait, I realized it's very community-based in a way, where there are groups of people with similar mindsets and similar kind of interests that I've noticed in Kuwait. And that was hard for me to kind of accept, I guess, because in Dubai especially, people come and go all the time. So you're meeting people all the time, and people are open to meeting new people because a lot of them either come for work or they visit just temporarily for 5 years and leave. So people are always open to meeting new people. And I realized there was a bit of a block in Kuwait, where everyone is just comfortable where they are at. Unless you you didn't grow up in Kuwait, you find it easier to kind of find or meet people around. But people who already grew up here and had their lives together and everything,
we do kind of have a sense of community, because you do have your family and your extended family. It's not just the family,
which is beautiful. I think it's beautiful, but when you're not used to it, it's just so bizarre. It's like, this is weird. I'm not used to this. So I think that's what I noticed mostly about Kuwait, and I noticed that it's a lot like Sharjah in many ways. لأن Sharjah is very down to earth. It's very quiet, but different. It is like Sharjah, but it's very different. I think maybe more like Abu Dhabi, more than Sharjah as well. But that's what I noticed about Kuwait, and I realized that it's a very convenient country. It's Kishi's accessible here. Everything's accessible. Everything is easy. It's an amazing country for routine. It's an amazing country if you want to save up money, because you can't do that بالإمارات. The UAE has become so expensive. So in Kuwait, I think it really provided me this space to kind of really build my job, or build my career path, I would say, to build myself as a person, because it gave me the space to really sit and reflect, especially during the first couple of months where I didn't have anyone. So I spent a lot of time on my own, and I would do the things that I love. So I got to know myself on a deeper level, better than I would have known myself back in Imarat, when there are a lot of distractions and a lot of people that I'm familiar with.
Yeah. That sense of getting to know yourself on a deeper level, I think that opened up a lot of doors for you, a lot of things you didn't know about yourself as well. Has had a connection everyone has to go through, but unfortunately
we don't get the opportunity to do so in Kuwait, because it's always on the go, always on to the next gathering, on to the next work, social event, whatever. It's one thing after the other.
And I think this is a situation that applies to anyone who just lives in a space that they haven't lived in. If you're living in a space that you're so comfortable with, it's kind of hard to get out of that community circle. Or
find your true self on a deeper level.
That's really difficult to do. You can do it. Obviously, if you have the intention to do it, you can do it. But if you're so comfortable, it's hard to get out of that.
They always say you always grow in when at the end of the comfort zone.
صح. Absolutely. صح. Every time I grew, it was always out of my comfort zone. Nothing was comfortable in that situation at all. Yeah.
Because you see yourself in a different type of space, different environments, different situations. So sometimes you see yourself that you're capable of something that you didn't know you were capable of, or oh wow, I have that within me. So after all that, talk to us about how Qesati came about, or what made you start Qesati, or what was the inspiration behind that?
So before Qesati even came to life, I was always a person who loves meeting new people, and Farah knows this. I love meeting new people. I travel with random strangers in groups, trying to just kind of understand their story, and a lot of people felt comfortable sharing things with me, because I like to listen to them without any kind of misconceptions or any prejudgments when it comes to that, because I truly believe that everyone has a story to share, and everyone has something or a background that they come from. So I was always interested in these people that I meet on my trips, and I've gained some amazing friends, including Farah, on one of the trips that I went to. So because of this love for travel and meeting people, when I came to Kuwait, I realized also, because of the struggle of not finding the right community for myself, or like-minded people, or a safe space for me to be myself, I wanted to create something like that, where a space that people can come together and share their stories, find a sense of belonging, find like-minded people, kind of be inspirations to each other. So during COVID, people kind of disconnected in many ways, right? They started to want to find some sort of connections. A lot of online platforms started to go crazy because nobody has kind of physical interactions with each other. And that somehow inspired in me to gather my friends. And I asked my friends, I told them, I have an idea. I want you guys to come together and I want to moderate a storytelling session. So we moderated 3 sessions with them where I just asked them questions and they shared their stories. And then they realized that there was a lot of benefits that came out of that. They felt lighter. They felt like it was fun to share and hear new things about our own friends. And they kind of encouraged me to go public with that. And they told me, like, why not kind of go out public with this, open it to the public and see where this goes. So I'm really, really thankful for all the people and all the friends that stood by me during that time, because they really pushed me to do this. And until this day, I still tell them, like, you guys, it wouldn't have been possible without you guys. Yani, their push really led me to where I am today. And they saw the growth ever since, and it grew and boomed in ways that I did not expect. Honestly, until this day, I still can't believe it. It got to that point where it actually created a community and helped people in many ways, where I had people after the sessions come to me and tell me that a certain guest said something that changed their life or changed their perspective about something, or they reach out a month or 2 months later and say that that led them to take a decision based off what was said in a session. So that's powerful. It goes to show how powerful the power of word is, the power of storytelling. And it just like expanded from there. And I realized in a few different forms of storytelling, there isn't just one. So why not include workshops where people get to experience that form of storytelling? مثلا, a person who's an artist and draws and is very into creative work can have someone else experience what they go through and kind of get a day in their shoes almost. Wow. So I started doing that, and then I realized, no, but it's also a community initiative, so why not do events? So I started doing events like poetry nights and collaborations, and it just like grew and grew from there. And I just consider it like my little baby that I think is also a very huge representation of who I am. Yani, a lot of people who look at Qesati, they go like, yep, this is something that represents Fatemah in many ways. And I think it really embodies everything that I am. It embodies the idea of community, the idea of openness, non-judgment, safety, feeling safe in a safe space. So it really, and I think I would say like it reached a point where I would say I'm really proud for it to represent me, because I think it is the perfect representation of who I am as a person.
I love that. I just wanted to highlight something she mentioned. Then earlier when we started talking, how basically I highlighted in a friendship is just a bit different than حتى siblings or family or whatnot. But like لأن إحنا we started the podcast يعني من comments of friends وهم they pushed us for us to like actually
start
بالضبط.
Because we've always wanted to start one like on our own, each one on our own, like separately sometime, and then it just fell through. And then like they used to see us like when we sit together and
we bicker and chat and whatnot,
and like we have like stories and like you guys would be perfect, you know.
It's so lovely how you highlighted in that you started your Qesati platform basically with your friends, and then how they pushed you or يعني inspired you to actually do it as something that you can share with Kuwait and your community or outside.
And there were a lot of doubts, like, don't get me wrong, like I was not confident about this at all, and I was overthinking everything about how am I gonna do this, how am I gonna do that, how am I gonna post, who's gonna design. But all of these doubts didn't matter, because I had a friend, or she used to work with me in my old job, and she told me, Fatemah, just be yourself. That was the word of advice that she gave to me. She's like, don't worry about how it looks. As long as you like it, that's what matters. And I think until this day, this still sticks with me, where it's like, as long as I like it and I feel good about it, it doesn't matter if someone doesn't like it, because it's not for everyone. You know, yes, it's a storytelling session but it's a community that doesn't fit everyone. And I'm okay with that. I learned to accept that. And there has been a bit of backlash where people kind of criticize, why do we speak English often? Why don't we do a lot of Arabic sessions? A lot of things need to be discussed that are not being discussed, مثل سالفة البدون وسالفة الكويتيات المتزوجين مو كويتيين and stuff like that. I've had people who came up to me wanting to talk about these topics, but again, this is a platform where people should feel safe. And I always say, like, I don't want to use this platform for hatred. I don't want to use this platform to cause conflict. So that's why I avoid talking about political things or about religion or about race, because these things we just don't want to talk about. These things I believe are subjective, and are open to kind of interpretation, and it's more of an opinion more than the storytelling. There's a difference between saying your opinion and there's a difference between saying your story. And that's what I always stressed at the beginning, because people didn't understand what Qesati was all about at the beginning. So they would come and share their opinions about certain things. And I literally had to put my hands down and be like, this is not a space for opinions. Thank you for sharing that. But if you have a story to share, you can share a story. But if you have an opinion, don't share it. Because that's going to strive or kind of stir up arguments. It's going to stir up conflicts. And that's not the purpose of this. So it went through a period of trial and error when it came to that. But obviously, these are all things that teach you to do better and to get better, and what works, what doesn't work over time. And I think it's still a work in progress. Yani I think it's still going to evolve and kind of get to a different maybe space than I thought originally, because it started something and then now it's completely something else.
It just keeps growing. Yeah, it's nice just to like grow with it and see where it takes you. That's like sometimes that's what they say, just start it and like it will flow with it within itself.
And the doubts are normal. To doubt it, to feel like you're not doing the right thing, it's completely normal. Like,
I think this is when you actually know that you care about what you're doing.
Yeah.
When you doubt, when you question, when you try to figure out how is it going to evolve. لما تحاتين basically.
لما تحاتين بس هم لما تحاتين دائما تذكري the reason why you chose to do this.
Yeah.
Going back to the reason of why you chose to do this and going back to seeing how much it impacted people is the reason I keep going. And there is no reason to stop. Always go back to why you started it. And that will keep you like going, basically. Every time I wanted to stop, and there were multiple times where I just didn't see the purpose of what I was doing, I'd have someone come and tell me something, and then I'd be reminded, okay, now I know why I should never stop doing that. Now I know why I should continue doing this. Because if it impacts one person, then it's done its job.
I mean, we went to the last Qesati session.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was so inspiring. It was with Chef Khalid Al-Bakr. And
it was a very light session, a very nice.
I mean, we laughed so much. Like, I literally coming in, I did not expect to laugh. Yes, احنا قاعدين طبعا front row لأن نبي
the
energy and the experience, you know. بس يعني we laughed so much, we learned so much.
It was very insightful, like you know.
So insightful, so inspiring. كل المعاني honestly. ناس ما كنا قاعد نسولف قبل شوي إنه تعبنا من القصص اللي أنا رحت خذيت من أبوي قرض ورحت فتشيت my own business. We've heard it so much.
Yeah.
Honestly, myself, I'm sick of it. هو قال قصة أو قال نبذة عن what he went through وصدق it's a fact كلنا عايشين فيه. يعني إن الحمد لله إحنا we are well off. You're مو شرط you are living your rich life بس
you're privileged.
Yes. You know? يعني الحمد لله we are مرتاحين على قولته. وهو قال هذه الشغلة، ولكن هو قال هم شغلة ثانية إنه هو تعب على نفسه عشان يجمع الفلوس اللي he had to basically to attend لكوردون بلو. هذا الجزء بالذات اللي إحنا we are missing to hear. شلون هو كافح، شلون هو اشتغل، شلون هو حفر بإيده وريله واضطر إنه يروح يبصم ويرد البيت كل يوم زين for 8 hours ما كان قاعد يسوي ولا شيء. كان بروحه قال كنت أشتغل ساعتين بالأسبوع عشان I end up doing what I want to do rather than just going
the traditional route and like whatever
for a check or a مبلغ or a قرض or whatever it was.
And that is a privilege we have here, especially in the Middle East. أحس بالخليج generally we do have this privilege where a lot of people end up getting successful because of monetary support from their families or because it's inherited or anything like that. But that doesn't mean that it's less valuable. It just means that they got there faster than others. صح. But again, like there's value in the journey itself. And Farah knows that really well. There's a lot of value in the journey, not just the destination.
We're going to get to that very soon.
It's not about the destination, it's about the journey because that's what molds you.
Yeah.
يعني it's not like ندور الشقة No, the shiga is there. It's there, but some people just have it easier than others, and there's nothing wrong with it. It just means that we all have our different ways of reaching to where we need to be.
And sometimes you need to go through that to really discover yourself and know that you're able to do that.
Definitely. وأحس إذا someone نفس ما قلتي يعني we all go through that. If you didn't go through it yet, then أحس you must at a certain point touch base at least. You're still not molded.
صح.
ف basically هذا راح يعد my next question. What molded you?
What molded me in what sense?
What was your turning point?
So I would say my turning point was, I think there were a lot of turning points in my life, but I think one really like big, huge turning point for me was in 2019. Was a very kind of transformative year, I would call it, because it was a year where I experienced grief in different forms, where within a span of 6 months, I lost my job, I lost my stepmother, and I lost a very important person in my life. Not in the sense where they passed away, but it was a very important person in my life. So to lose these kind of things in a span of 6 months was incredibly difficult, because it's like, how do you deal with one grief? How do you process one without having to process the other one properly? You need a time frame to kind of process all of that. So that kind of put me in a very, very low space in my life, where they say you reached rock bottom. I would say I would reach rock bottom, where it was extremely evident. It was extremely evident in the way that my body reacted to things, where I lost a very, very like large number of my weight. I lost weight, I wasn't eating, I was not in the best state possible, where to the point where my sister used to walk into my room and she's like, تقول أحس في غيمة سودة فوقك. She used to say that all the time لما تقول أحس في ظلام حولك لما أشوفك. And for those friends who know me and who grew up around me, and Farah knows me, I'm a very, I think, bubbly person. Like I'm very like, I think regardless of what happens, I'm always staying optimistic. So that was very unnatural for me to be that way, because at the end of the day, I was human, and there's only so much we can take.
Definitely.
You know, and there's like I sort of had to grieve lack of security, grieve the loss of someone who left this life, and the loss of someone who is still in this life, but I have to grieve this person too. So it was incredibly difficult, but that is something that I'm incredibly grateful for, because it put me in a period of isolation, where I really went back to myself and looked deep within what needed to be shifted. And I think that was the point where I call this the ego death, where suddenly my ego was dead, and I was reborn in a way where I started to look at things differently, and I got more spiritual during that time, and I started to connect to myself a lot deeper, started to understand how things happen and why they happen, and understand that things are happening for me and not against me at that point. Everything's working for me, and I have to understand that. For that was a very transformative time in my life that shifted me to become a more, I would say, in my journey, a better person, whatever that's defined as. But from my perspective, I feel like I became a better person after that, way I started to care more about people. And this is very interesting, and I became more compassionate towards myself, but also towards others in a way, because I learned about forgiveness, and I had to forgive, and I had to learn to love, that the only way to heal is through love. It's not through hatred. It's not through anger or any of these negative emotions. Even though they're valid emotions, everyone needs to feel these emotions. But I had to feel every sort of emotion to reach a state of understanding that everything can be sorted out with love and compassion and understanding towards myself first and foremost, and then towards others, because it starts with me. I have to fill my own cup first before filling anyone else's cup. And that's a hard lesson I learned through this time period. When I put a boundary towards my parents and my siblings, and I told them I need some time on my own right now, that was me asking for time for myself, so I can recharge and go back again. So it was a period, I would say, of self-love, of self-understanding, self-discovery. And this is really funny, because قبل this period, I used to always feel awkward to say Habibti. to like my friends, or like عادي حبيبتي, don't worry about it. I always found this to be very weird for some reason.
Like words of endearment.
Words of endearment. And يعني, some people have it so naturally. It's just out of compassion. But to me, I didn't have that.
Okay.
And I wasn't the kind of person who was so comfortable hugging people as well. ما أحب إنه يعني to be hugged by my friends all the time and stuff like that. But after that period, I became so compassionate that now it's just naturally to me. It just came naturally. Like now I would habibti, and I would talk with compassion. It just kind of molded again into the person that I am today.
Okay.
It kind of molded me. That period has molded me in a way to become more aware of people's emotions, more understanding that, you know, we all go through shit. Mm-hmm. Everyone goes through something. And it just doesn't mean that just because it's not as difficult or as intense as the shit that I've gone through, but it's still
valid.
It's still valid because that's what they can handle. That's the level of grief or the level of pain that they can handle. Doesn't mean that it's not valid. So that's something that I started to look at. And I think that molded me into the person that I am today, made me a lot stronger, made me a lot more strong-headed. And that's obviously that year was something that molded me into the person that I am. But a lot of things in my life that molded me was also the dynamic that I had with my mother, where my mother is, again, a very strong, independent woman who knows what she wants. She's extremely direct. She's extremely cutthroat, truthful. So to grow up with a mother like that is almost trying to battle to find your voice constantly, because your mom is correct, but how do you go against someone who's so strong and tell her that you're not right or I disagree? So growing up, that was a challenge for me that also over time molded me to become a little stronger, to find my own voice, to set boundaries where I need to, out of love and respect, obviously, not out of spite, not out of hatred or anything like that. It was all out of love. It was just out of love for myself and out of love for her, because I didn't want to ruin the relationship that I had with my mother, or anyone in that case in my life, not just my mother. But also something that molded me as a person are sports. I would say sports really set the discipline that I need in my life in many ways. So I started sports at the age of, like, let's say, I used to always be into sports, but I started properly getting into it from the age of, I think, 18, when I joined the swimming team in my university and started swimming competitively. And that's where I learned a lot about discipline. I learned a lot about what it feels like to really push your limit, to push your body, and to kind of understand that it's more than just doing sports. It's mental work, it's physical work, it's emotional work, and it's medicine. I always say sports is medicine, because it really is.
It is therapeutic in many ways.
It's therapeutic. It helped me. I think what got me through college was actually sports, because it kind of gave me this kind of break. Mm-hmm. And when you're doing sports, I truly believe it's a form of meditation. يصير تكونين بحالة تأمل، لأن خلاص أنت you're fully present there. ما قاعد تفكرين بشيء ثاني حوالينك. خلاص you're just there. You're focusing on whether you're lifting this heavy weight or you're swimming, racing, trying to get to the end. خلاص your mind shuts down. And when it shuts down, you're in complete moments of presence. You're there. So that's meditation. And that kind of set my life and molded me also into the person that I am today and led me to different paths.
Wow.
Very inspirational.
Wow. Very deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did not expect it to go this deep.
I'm that friend where I'll sit in a group and then I say something so deep, like, Fatemah, it's not the time for this. Like, why do you always have to get so deep? It's not that deep. I'm that person.
حبيت.
There's memes about this.
She came in saying, like, I'm not going to be deep today. I'm going to keep it like
I know, but like,
I can't.
Yeah.
I cannot not be deep. And that's the problem.
بس يعني
لا بس يعني it's deep within يعني with the good.
With a good sense.
With a good sense and good story.
Yeah.
Would you say that time is when you started your travels, where like you started like traveling around to discover, and like, for example, you've gone to Guatemala on like a hike, you've done Kyrgyzstan, you said like also as a hike. So like, would you say was it around that time, and then recently our Kilimanjaro trip as well, where we met? So
Yeah, I think my hiking journey or my love for hiking started after 2019 because I needed a space again because I got so used to the isolation that I was in that going back and functioning in society after I got a job again and tried to function, the only way for me to kind of be in my own thoughts again without the distractions was to be literally in the wilderness walking and like just being in my head. You know, that's what I needed. So I discovered hiking, where the first hike that I did was actually Jebel Shams in Oman. And I ended up going, and I remember one of the people, one of the guys who was on that group, it was a group of literally, I was the only girl between like 10 guys who signed up for that trip. And the 2 other guys were females, but out of everyone who signed up, I was the only girl and everyone else were guys. And then one of the guys asked me, he was like, why are you here? And I told him, I'm here to heal. That was my answer. And then he just looked at me as if he understood exactly what I was saying. And he was like, I hope you heal and find what you're looking for out of this trip. So I think that is when I discovered that hiking is such a beautiful experience that changes your life, that challenges you, but also pushes you towards becoming a better person, pushes you towards kind of really seeing how far you can push yourself and your body mentally and physically. Because Farah would agree to this, that a huge part of hiking, getting to the destination is mental. It's about the mental strength. And at that time I was in the process of developing this mental strength and using grit to get there. So that hiking helped me with that. It helped me to develop that mental strength that I needed and physical strength that I needed during that time. And then obviously I started to discover the power of nature, and I couldn't go back after that. It was like, okay, now I can't go back.
Nature
and I wanted to discover
magical. It's magical, man. Like
I couldn't. Like that's when I discovered, like, whoa, what is this world?
You feel so tiny. It makes it's, I don't know how to explain, like when you're in the middle of nowhere, you're cut off from like everyone else, everything else. So basically you feel like you're cut off of all the problems that you have, all the stress, everything that you have that's going on outside of where you're at that moment. Everything is gone and you're just there right now, very present in this most amazing place, and you feel so tiny and you
such a grounding moment.
Very grounding, and it makes you feel like, oh, we're all connected. We're all one with this like world, and how tiny you are in this small world. Like,
and so there's so much untouched beauty around the world. You know, after I discovered Jebel Shams, I was like, there are places that I want to discover. And that's what goes back to Farah's point, which is like, I went to Kyrgyzstan. And I remember signing up for this trip. It was through Rahala. And they told me, we're sorry, Fatemah, nobody signed up for this trip. Because it was like literally the middle of nowhere. And nobody has heard of this country. Like, we're sorry, but nobody signed up. But would you like to go alone? I didn't even hesitate twice. I was like, yes, I will go. And there were people from the group there that I met later on. But the first few days, it was just me and the guide. It was just me and the guide chilling. And he's driving me around, and I went to yurt camps, and we'd had conversations and everything like that. I had the time of my life.
It's a private tour.
It was a private tour for a few days. I was like, I'm privileged to have this. Like, he really gave me insight into the real Kyrgyzstanian experience, because he's a local and he's so passionate about what he does. Like, Bigali was just the best. So he really introduced me to this world, and obviously ended up going to Guatemala there later on, where I hiked for a volcano and saw a volcano erupt right in front of my eyes for the first time in my life. Wow. And it really is insane when you discover that world. And a lot of people question, like, why would you do this to yourself? Why would you go and hike? Yeah. And I want Farah to actually talk a little bit more about that. And why do you hike? ليش تعبي النفس؟ أنا مثل أختي تقول لي أنا ما أسافر عشان يعني أعذب نفسي أروح أريح نفسي وأدلع نفسي. That's her mindset.
Yeah.
But to me, it's like, no, this is my fun. This is what I think is fun, because I've said this before, and I think I've said this to Farah as well, where it's like, it's so important to understand that you should travel to find yourself. You shouldn't travel to lose yourself. because you can easily lose yourself when you're outside of your routine and everything like that. But if you've set the intention to find yourself in these places, you will, and you will discover things about yourself that you have never known before once that intention is set. So yeah, I think hiking is beautiful. Hiking is something that I don't think I'll ever stop. And obviously Kilimanjaro was a very different kind of experience, because I never hiked more than I never camped more than 2 days, I think, maximum. And I think
it was 7 days.
And hiking for 7 days was a whole nother level. Yeah.
I think you guys found yourself on a different level there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You connected deeper.
We connected deeper, and what I love about hiking experiences is that you see people in their purest, most authentic forms. There's nothing to hide. You can't hide. I can't hide my pain or what I'm feeling right now. I can't hide my frustration. I can't hide how my body's reacting to this altitude. I can't hide anything at this point. If you see a person,
There's no filter.
In
basically.
their raw forms. You see them in their raw forms. The girls have no makeup on. شعرنا hasn't been washed for 6 days. يعني تشوفين كل شيء. And I think it's beautiful, actually. There's something amazing about that. لأن خلاص, you reach a level of comfort. And خلاص, I accept together. Myself as I am. I accept you as you are. خلاص. You want to cry, cry. You want to be angry, be angry. You want to sing, sure, go for it. Yes, we unlocked a whole different level when it came to that.
Of bonding, yeah.
Yeah. I've seen it all at this point.
There's no going back.
There's no going back.
You can't unsee it. You can't unhear it.
No, that's why I stay friends with Farah, because she's seen too much. And it's just she can blackmail me, if anything.
I have no proof, but yeah, I would never do that. Imagine, I got a picture of you puking on that plant, remember?
Yeah.
ما تخيل.
But yeah, raw forms, you see people in their raw forms, and
we see each other in our most vulnerable state. Yes. And the most, because it was challenging, yani, especially that last day, that summit day. That was the most challenging day, where we kept we went through a roller coaster of emotions, man. What am I doing with my life? Why are we doing this to ourselves?
And Farah is more composed, I think, than me when it comes to these things, because I'm so obvious with how I feel. I'm so expressive with my face and what I say. Farah is more composed, and she's able to put herself together. No, I couldn't. Honestly, she would hear me complain constantly. She would hear me cry or laugh. So you really learn a lot about people during these trips. You learn about their personalities. Some people are more reserved. Some people are more outspoken. Some people are more kind of composed. So you really learn about people on these trips, and it's beautiful. They say, you know a person more when you travel with them. No, you know a person more when you hike with them. Or
you know them very well. You know
them
very well, because you know how they always say, you know a person in the bad situations. You can see that. So basically, we're all it's a good situation, but it's we're all in a very bad state.
Yeah. So a tip to whoever wants to get married, go hiking and camp together and see how that goes. Because that way you'll really know.
Yeah.
You really know. كل شيء, بس you'll know.
Yeah. You'll know how it's like.
The states and of how each person looks. You see each other in the worst states. The worst.
There's beauty in that. There's a lot of beauty in that.
At that point, we were all we're in the same situation together. Who am I to judge how your hair is looking today? Because my hair is just as bad as yours.
It's you're in this playground. You're in this huge playground that's encouraging you to bring out your inner child and be completely yourself. And we don't get that in our daily this concrete jungle that we live in. We don't have this opportunity to really just
let go.
I just want to let go, and I just want to be myself. I don't have to always constantly have my hair done. I don't have to constantly have makeup on.
All right, so speaking of Kilimanjaro, I have a question. But actually, before we get deep into that question, I know we met. I remember you were the last group of people to come to the hotel, because we all came in different groups, and she was the last person. You and another person, I think you were the last people. I remember I met you. We didn't talk, we met on that briefing meeting. We were all up there in that, I think it was a veranda area. And that's when I first saw her. We didn't talk at that time. we talked. I remember when we went for dinner, you sat right across from me, and we kind of, that's when you started like asking questions and moderating maybe an interview or something.
In a way, it was like a mini Qesati session with her.
La wallah.
Yeah.
She started asking me deep questions and we got deep and all that.
I think it comes naturally at this point.
Yeah, it really does.
You got used to it, probably.
It really does.
What was your first impression?
What was my first impression about you?
Yeah.
I think you were like a very bubbly, very social person. Like
she cray-cray.
She was easy to get along with, honestly. I think we were on the same level of cray-cray.
Okay.
So that's why we were able to like click really well. And we kind of understood each other. There was like an understanding, I think, where she understood the kind of background I come from, and I understand the kind of background she comes from. So there was like, it was funny. Like, it was just a lot of laughter with Farah. Like, she just understands my humor and I understand her humor, and it just works. So, and the whole trip was just us laughing throughout. Yeah.
You have a whole fan base for your laugh, Farah.
Yeah. And we both have very loud laughs.
Yeah.
Different
styles
of laughs. So,
حبيت.
Different shades.
حبيت.
Yeah, different shades of laughs.
Nice.
So what was your takeaway from that trip, or like what coming out of it, or actually like a bit of your experience and like coming out of it, what did you feel?
I think that trip was honestly one of the most challenging hikes that I've ever done, because I mentioned that I've never camped more than 2 days maximum in a place, like, or overnight, and then would go back down the next day. So to be on this journey with strangers for 6 days without any showers, and again, people being in their raw forms and their most authentic selves, was a beautiful experience. Honestly, it taught me a lot about myself, my mental strength, mostly because at some point, and Farah probably can agree to that, خلاص, your body gives up. يعني انت تعبانه ومو نايمه ومواصله نايمه 3 ساعات، خلاص وصلتي حدك بالتعب. The only thing that gets you to keep going at that point is your mind. How strong is your mind to keep you going throughout the journey? لأن once you reach the summit, okay, you reach the summit, but you still have to go back down. You still need to have that kind of energy reserve to go back down. And that is when you're going to be tested. I think that's when you really get tested. And when you're trying to reach the destination, خلاص, you have a goal. I have a goal to reach to. I have a destination. I have a point that I need to get to. But once you get to that point, it's like جنك وصلتي the destination. It's like, خلاص, like, I don't want to, like, خلاص, can it just end here? But that, I think, is a metaphor for a lot of things that we go through in life. Because once you reach the destination, that doesn't mean khalas, that's it. There's still another journey that you have to go through. There's still another point that you need to get to. So I think that is a learning experience that I gained out of this, which was so amazing. I learned about, I always say, like, this trip unlocked a different level of strength within me. I discovered a different level of strength that I had that I didn't know I had throughout this trip. So beautiful people that I've met throughout the trip, one of them being Farah. So I'm so grateful for that. We bonded, we laughed, we cried, we did everything. And it's just one of the most remarkable. I think everyone should hike Kilimanjaro. Everyone should try it at least once in their lives.
It's a magical mountain. Like the word uhuru means freedom. And it really, like, you feel a sense of freedom when you reach the top. It's like, so sitting on top of the world.
Yeah, it really felt like that. It felt like on top of the world until
they had to come back down
until
again.
I had to come back down again, because my head was about to pop from the altitude at some point. أول ما توصلين السمت يكون البريشر وايد عالي لدرجة إن راسك كأن أحد is like squeezing it. And then if that happens, you have to immediately go back down. And the further down you go, the better, because there's less altitude. So I think I just like took pictures. I was like, I'm done. I'm over this. I immediately rushed down. And Farah remembers that, like, I was the first one to just rush down because of how exhausted I was. So yeah, I think that was my takeaway from this trip. I think it was beautiful, very challenging, and really teaches you about yourself. You really tap in. And then after the trip, I felt more, I think everyone goes through this after the trip, where you come back and you're really trying to process what happened. And I think that is the most kind of very interesting space to be in.
It was such a surreal, like, Madri, it was such a weird space as well, because being cut out of civilization. for 7 days and coming back to normal life. It's like, what is normal anymore?
Yeah, and a lot of the people there did have service, but I made an intention. I landed in Kilimanjaro. I was like, I'm not going to buy a SIM card. And I remember calling my mom and telling her, I'm going to be gone for 6 days. Don't worry, I'm just going to be on a mountain and I'll be back once I'm back, once I have Wi-Fi. Surprised, she's like, okay. Like, I was so shocked by her response. She got so used to me doing this bizarre stuff that she's like, I don't even want to know at this point. Like, and then I remember when I landed, that's why I always recommend like disconnecting during this time. Disconnect fully, because that's when you gain the full experience. And I was telling Farah about this. I was like, Farah, I don't have a phone. I don't have service. أنا ما أدري إيش قاعد يصير back home. I have no contact with anyone. All I have is my phone to take pictures, and that's it. For almost 6 days. 6 days. It was 6 full days. So I completely disconnected, and to go from complete disconnection to connection again was weird. It was a weird experience for me to hold my phone the minute we landed after we reached to the bus area.
Yeah.
I looked at my phone. I felt weird holding my phone and reading messages. I was like, this is strange. And I'm getting messages and voice notes, messages. And my mom, funny enough, didn't text me until the 7th day. And she's like, انتي ما نزلتي من الجبل? That is like the only thing she said. ما نزلتي من الجبل?
Like, are you still up there?
And she said it so casually. And then I had to call her and tell her we just reached, like I slept. It was a very, very beautiful experience, honestly.
I love that. حبيت القصة.
It's definitely it was a powerful trip, very powerful, like in many ways.
Yeah. Too many more powerful trips to come.
For sure. Yeah. I'm already itching for another mountain trip. I don't mind going back to Kilimanjaro. When I was when on that way there, I'm like, I'm done with this shit. Why am I doing this to myself?
Yeah, there's always that moments.
I think I've wanted to do it. I ticked it off. I'm not gonna do it again. Like, this is what I was going. Even the day after I came back, I was like when we descended, I'm like, I don't want to think about any hike. I don't want to do any more hikes like this. I came back. I'm like, you know what? I will do it again all over. Like. It felt so good after Yani. I was like, I don't mind doing it again.
Yeah, and everyone got into a different state. Yani, Farah became more, I think, louder there. Yani, it brought out the loudness in her.
أكثر من شيء فاروق.
She became loud. I became very quiet. يعني تذكرين فرح? I became extremely quiet. لدرجة I was like, I need some time on my own. So I would go like walk a little bit in camp area, and I would sit on my own chili for like 30 minutes, 40 minutes. I'll just like stare into space. So it really like brings out different sides in you. Whatever that needs to come out, comes out. And at that point, I required silence. But I think Farah required to be a little bit more social and to meet people and to kind of be herself and be more out there, which I think really set a beautiful tone to the trip. It kind of brought life to the trip. You know, she brought life, she brought like the zest almost to the trip. And she kind of uplifted me as well throughout the trip, where she made me feel like, Fatemah, you can do it, like, let's dance. She was a constant reminder of like, don't take life too seriously. And I love that so much. And I think that's when...
Thank you.
Yeah, she was my constant reminder of not taking life too seriously. And that is what I needed on that trip. You can't take everything seriously there, you can't. You know, but I think I was a reminder to her that to also like, we were reflecting this to each other, where I was a reminder where it's okay to stay still. It's okay to like be silent sometimes. It's okay to kind of,
because we all went through the phases of like, sometimes like I remember on that, before reaching Stella Point, there was a part where like everyone was just silent. There was complete silence for like a good hour. Everyone was silent. Nobody was complaining to one another. Like, we were just in the zone where we were even like saying, oh my God, I'm so tired, or like nothing. It was a mental game at that point. At that time,
purely like, mental game.
At that point, we just like kept pushing. Yeah, and you know, like we were like grit, like pure grit. Like we were just there. We're like, we got to do this one way or another. And I feel like everyone was just in their own zone, in their own head, and it was pure silence. Even the guides at that point, like, because they were singing on the way up, but at one point it was pure silence. And it wasn't even just our group. It was like it was other groups as well. There was like a point in that mountain. I still remember it was just like silence. Everyone was just like, you just hear breathing.
Wow.
It's almost like you reached freedom. And freedom is extreme, like an extreme state of bliss. And when you're in an extreme state of bliss, you're silent. Khalas, your mind is not chattering. You're not overthinking anything. You're not overanalyzing anything. You're not judging anything. You're in a state of bliss. You're free. And I think that's what we experienced. I think that's what came after that.
Yeah, you're just like focusing on that one step, like one step at a, literally one step at a time, one step at a time. It was just that, one step at a time, almost there. Almost there. ما بقى شيء. يلا ما بقى شيء. هانت. That was all. ما بقى شيء. You came, like I just kept looking, like you came all the way from there. الحين ما بقى على like the small piece, you can do it يعني.
حبيت how it's like an emotional roller coaster, a mental roller coaster, حتى physical. You go through everything. You basically analyze everything that you went through or about to go through bad. That's
and in a way, like, yes, we climbed a mountain, but in a way, this is what happens in life.
Exactly.
You're constantly climbing your own mountain. You're always trying to reach your own destination, your own kind of
You're basically in your own metaphor.
You are your own metaphor. Exactly. This is a metaphor to literally, because one of my friends was telling me about what she was going through, and I was like, I told her this. I was like, you're currently climbing a mountain, so enjoy the journey. And then that's when she kind of looked at it in a different way, because every mountain has its own obstacles and its own course and its own kind of lessons, and just take it and keep going.
So deep. So deep.
Okay, I think we'll take a break from the deepness.
خلاص بس.
I'm ready to like kind of
chill out.
Again, Farah bringing in the not taking life too seriously energy, which I need in my life so often, you know.
All right, before the next segment, we have the what's on the menu. Always. And today, it's not a restaurant, but we spoke about it last week, last episode. And I was like, you guys requested it, and I delivered it.
As always. You always deliver. صراحة يعني حرام.
I got today cream caramel.
Oh my God.
My mom's famous cream caramel.
I haven't had cream caramel in years.
Yes.
حتى لو you had one خلينا نقول بس مال أم فرح
Really?
it's different.
Let's take it
It's
out.
different يعني أنا وايد picky بالأكل. I can smell eggs or milk لهالدرجة I'm picky. فما بالك مع كريم كراميل, you know what I mean?
Oh my God.
But it's different. It's different.
Yeah, I have such a sweet tooth. I'm down for any sugar, any dessert, anytime.
So yeah, we got here cream caramel
مع خالتي.
I don't think she knows I brought it.
صدق ما عليه.
ما قلت لها بس إنه yeah, she'll see it. She'll find out. So we brought cream caramel. You guys requested it last week. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna bring it to you guys to try, to have. And obviously with Fatemah here, she'll have.
يعني أنا مجربتها مليون مرة. أنا can't have enough. I can bathe in it لهالدرجة. I swear to God.
All right, let's serve. All right, so try the cream caramel and let me know your thoughts.
طبعاً هو بخور زعفران.
إيه.
صح؟
It's so good. يعني the most prevailing taste that I'm getting is the za'faran. يعني.
Yeah, I never had cream caramel with saffron like this before.
Seriously?
Yeah.
هل شلون تاكلونه؟
I don't know. But I don't know how cream caramel is made, but I never tasted saffron like that, you know?
It's very creamy and soft.
It hugs your stomach.
Yeah, it feels like a hug.
Yeah.
It feels like a hug for sure.
سويته من قفشة؟
لا. لا. Can I bathe in this?
Yummy.
You can go for seconds with the tibin.
ما عليه, a moment of silence, you guys. Out of respect حق
for the amazing cream caramel dish.
انت قاعدة طالعينه اوكي؟
عادي متعودة. It's fine.
أمل عطنا رأيك لو سمحت.
It's amazing.
Wow, what a dessert.
You want more?
Honestly, like 10 out of 10.
You want more?
I'm okay. Okay. It's kind of like dense as well. يعني a little bit goes a long way.
Yeah.
But yeah, 10 out of 10 for consistency. 10 out of 10 for like presentation, 10 out of 10 for taste.
Well, I've been trying to have her start selling them because everyone asks for it.
حدا بس وين اللي يسمع؟ ما حد يسمع. I swear to God, ما يبطلون businesses.
Yeah, like I have a friend, her mom makes the best cheesecake in the world. Like I've never tasted a cheesecake like that. It was divine. When I had it, I was like, this needs to be sold. But I'm so glad it's not being sold because I would have it all the time.
The privilege of having it all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Alhamdulillah.
So, hope you guys like the cream caramel.
أمبي.
So good.
تسلم
إيدهم much. So good.
جد. عسى إيدها ما تمسها النار.
All right. To end off, we have another fun segment. Something we actually bonded over in Kilimanjaro. Would you rather questions?
Oh, yes. Let's do
You
it.
love those questions.
I love this too. It's
This
so
is
much fun. Wallah, it's so much
something
fun.
that we kind of like, we were always playing, and it was always courtesy of Fajr. She was always bringing those questions random. Like we would be sitting having dinner, and she'd be like, guys, would you rather this?
The most bizarre questions you can never even think. It's like, what? Where did that come from? And it got creative at some point. It
And
got
at
really
that point, like towards the end, everyone was just like, every time we sit down, everyone would try to like pitch in with like a would you rather question. And it was like, I got one. Would you rather this or that? And like someone like, okay, I got one right now. Would you rather this or that? It was such a...
حبيت.
Yeah.
It's something that we kind of bonded over, which I really loved. It was so
I
fun.
don't get it. The questions are such wide, bizarre.
They're very strange. That's the fun part. It's
Yeah.
like you never think about it, but like, would you rather or would you rather do this?
It will probably never happen. But it's like, would you rather this or that?
Yeah,
Some
but-
of them don't make any sense
Yeah.
either. All right. I have a couple and then we'll see. Would you rather always have to sing instead of speaking or dance everywhere you go?
I think sing, at least I can like
Make it
not be
rhyme.
kicked out of places, because like some places you just can't stand up and dance all the time. So I think I would sing.
I don't know. صوتي ما يسمحني أغني. وحتى مسافة الدانس ما أدري يعني. I don't want to like stand up and dance.
Yeah, imagine like you're walking to work and you're dancing.
إيه لا.
Or going into a bank, you're dancing.
What about you, Farah? Which one would you choose?
Singing. I naturally do it. Yeah. So I'll like bring up some lyrics or another.
So you're still thinking about it.
I'm very, very much thinking about contemplating. ما أدري. مش فاهمة.
I mean, you probably don't have to sing it. You can just like say
Wrap it out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Rhyme it out.
I think singing.
Makes
إذا
sense.
كذي الموضوع singing. معناه لا.
Trust me, I don't have a good voice either. يعني.
والله على كثر ما الناس قالوا لي صوتي غنائي، كنت والله مفكرة فترة معينة أن أدش إذاعة ولا أدش شو اسمه أدش شو اسمه إنه يعني أروح for like a coach.
Yeah.
ويعني أتعلم أغني.
Why
Try
not?
it?
لا
Let's try it. I would go with you.
It's never too late for that.
ما أدري. جت فترة قدمت أذكر كنت بقدم على مارينا FM من كثر ما الناس قالوا لي إنه يعني
صوتش إعلامي.
إيه وايد ناس قالوا لي إياها وايد، وحتى like a bunch of my friends اللي يعني اللي عشت وياهم سبين وكذي كلهم استانسوا إنه I'm co-hosting a podcast لأن we're like we told you
Yeah.
قلنا لك صوتك مال إذاعة صوتك مال راديو.
And you are doing this now, which is great.
So it's the same thing,
It's the same
technically.
thing. Yeah.
All right. Would you rather fight one horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses?
I think 100 duck-sized horses. That would be so cute to watch. Imagine
No,
like
you have to fight. No, like, would you fight them?
Why would I fight them?
Like, fight them all? I don't know.
I don't know, just the idea of like seeing duck-sized horses is so cute to me, so I would want to fight that.
Such a curious George. I think one is enough for me.
I'm kind of contemplating on this one because like I was thinking of like a one-sized duck, but I've seen how ducks can be mean sometimes. They'll pluck you, like You know, like imagine like a huge one and it comes like and just like plucks you in the head and it like.
بس واحد أحسن من 100.
Yeah, and then like I'm thinking if it's 100 horses, like mini horses, and ducks are not tiny. They're actually like a good size, you know, and like they're coming out of nowhere. I don't know, man. This is because like imagine like even like being in the middle of like 10 ducks is usually
a duck-sized horse. Was that the question?
Yeah.
A duck-sized horse?
A duck, 100 duck-sized horses, or one horse-sized duck.
Yeah, definitely a lot of duck-sized horses.
Yeah, I think.
أنا الواحد صراحة.
This is a hard one because that one duck, that's gonna be a huge ass duck, man.
Yeah.
And ducks are not nice.
But that would be so cute, though. Imagine like a humongous duck with like feathers and like big like.
She'll step on you, man. Like
it's so cute.
بعد يعني حتى الهورس الصراحة. يعني أنت قاعد تقولين البطة مو هينة يعني. بطة. تيجي مربربة فيها صحة.
Yeah, that's crazy. I'm leaning more towards the one. That's crazy. Like ducks are crazy.
يمكن ترافجينها.
But what if she fly? No, like
way through.
What if she flies on you? Because like, you know, like she'll fly and like go up in your face like a huge ass
like
duck.
imagine how loud the quack would be.
Imagine like
it's like a siren.
How when they fly.
إذا باضت.
Like it would be so loud. Can you think about it? It's like dinosaur, but
imagine
like duck.
almost kind of like an ostrich, basically.
But like إذا على horse إذا حجم الهورس لا راح تكون أكبر من الأوستريش.
I'm saying like imagine like I'm thinking like the biggest.
And ducks are loud.
And ostriches are really mean.
I know.
Really
and
mean.
they can kick you.
We got chased once in South Africa. Wallah al-Azim, that was the scariest shit in my life.
Yeah, I want to fight a duck that's the size of a horse.
عادي. Ducks are like, تقدرين ترافجينها. الأوستريش مثلا on the other hand bleep no.
All right. I think one last one. Actually, I'm gonna say two.
Just roll with it.
I'm gonna say two because this one is so. I know Salil's answer with this one. Back to the socks.
استغفر الله على هالإطلاقات.
Would you rather always have to wear socks with sandals or always have to wear a fanny pack?
Fanny pack. ما عندي أي مشكلة.
Yeah, I'd rather like have chances where I get to be barefoot. So definitely a fanny pack.
Yeah, I think a fanny pack too. It's more convenient because like you can wear it in different ways now.
بالضبط. الحين أصلا صار هبة قاموا يلبسونها كذي ويسوونها أصلا البراندز و whatnot.
Yeah.
All right, this is the last one. Would you rather have the ability to fly but at walking speed or be able to run at the speed of light and not fly?
Yeah,
fly.
I'd definitely run at the speed of light. At least I'd like get to places faster and quicker.
Yeah.
أول واحدة شنو كانت؟
Fly, but it has to be like at the speed of walking speed.
Because I think flying can be inconvenient, you know, especially like in Kuwait. It would be hot to fly here. Like I'm thinking about the bigger picture.
You're flying in the sea.
Like that doesn't work. So I would think like really.
And you can't fly fast.
Imagine running so fast that you can get to places so quick.
Speed of light, yes.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, like it'll be flash, like Sonic, you know?
Allah,
it's like I'll be there in a second, literally a second. You're there already, you know.
But then like
I'm running late. 1 second.
Yeah. But like if you're flying, like imagine like walking, like flying from Rumaithiyah to the studio, and it takes you the same amount as if you were to walk it.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. And like you have to flap your hands. Your arms.
It's so much energy.
Yep.
You can
على بلا معنى.
Gracefully flying.
Very slow.
هذه dove مو شو اسمه.
I mean, you're going very slow.
ما منها فايدة.
Depends if they're speed walking or not. I mean,
but still, like the fastest you'll probably fly is like 5.5 kilometers per hour.
At the end of I'm crawling أصلاً. I'm not even walking.
I feel bad for the birds who have to fly in this heat.
قاموا يطيحون. You gotta like whenever you have a chance like put a pot with water.
Yeah, for sure.
You know حتى لو ما يعني sometimes we don't have like بس إحنا ببيتنا we don't have pets but we don't have pet food. بس يعني a bowl of water can go a long way.
Yeah,
يعني
cold water.
Can go a long way with them.
For sure. Yeah. Anywho, thank you so much for coming. It was really fun and deep as well.
Yeah,
conversation.
You can't have a conversation with me without getting deep. Like you can't.
We got the both sides. We got the both sides. That's the most important
it was
thing.
so inspirational, honestly. Thank you. We are so grateful.
Thank you for having me. I mean, it was so much fun, and I needed this kind of lighthearted kind of conversation as well, just to lay low and to also again be reminded that just don't take everything seriously. Just relax and be yourself and just have fun.
And this is life. What's life all about, Aslan?
Yeah.
To be honest. Thank you so much again.
Thank you, girls.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
As always, don't forget to follow us on all platforms, social media, TikTok, Instagram, subscribe to YouTube, all the socials. And with that being said, as always, big love, peace. Keep it for real.
Amazing. Yes, girlfriends, we did it. That was so fun. I really enjoyed it.